Commander Elias Rourke woke up to the smell of smoke and burning wires. The emergency lights inside his ship blinked red. Sparks fell from the ceiling like fireflies. His head throbbed. His ears rang. He had crash-landed. He unbuckled himself and stumbled through the narrow corridors of his small scout ship, the Vanguard. The systems were offline. The engines were dead. Life support was holding, but barely. A cracked screen showed the name of the moon. Virex 9. Perfect, Elias muttered. Middle of nowhere. Virex 9 had been marked as a war grave. No one came here. It was quiet, cold, and haunted by the past. A major battle had taken place years ago. Humans and aliens tearing each other apart. No survivors, no peace, just ashes. Elias grabbed his gear, an oxygen mask, a pistol, a scanner, and a flashlight. The air outside was toxic. He sealed his helmet and opened the hatch. A gust of wind greeted him, carrying the scent of metal and death. The landscape was a graveyard. Twisted remains of alien and human ships littered the land. Blackened skeletons of buildings reached into the sky like broken fingers. Strange shadows moved in the mist, but nothing solid showed on his scanner. He moved slowly, carefully. Every step echoed on the dry, cracked ground. He searched for supplies, tools, anything to help fix his ship. Then he saw it. Half covered in dust and rubble was a massive alien structure. Tall, curved like a shell, its walls shimmering with faded energy. Symbols he couldn't read were carved into its surface. A palace? A temple? He didn't know. Curiosity pulled him forward. Inside, it was dark and cold. The halls were silent except for the hum of broken tech. He passed empty armor suits, Synthari, the enemy race from the war, tall, insect-like warriors. All dead now. Or so he thought. As he entered a large chamber, his scanner beeped. Life detected. His heart jumped. He raised his pistol and followed the signal to the corner of the room. There, lying against a collapsed pillar, was a figure. She was injured. Her body shimmered with blue scales and silver armor cracked at the chest. A long, torn cape trailed behind her. Her eyes opened, golden and glowing with pain. She tried to lift her arm, a weapon forming from her wrist. Elias didn't shoot. Instead, he lowered his weapon slowly. He reached into his bag and pulled out a water pack. He tossed it to her. She stared at him in disbelief. "Why, help me," she asked through a broken translator. "I'm just a man," he said, "but I don't like seeing people die." For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, with a shaking hand, she drank. The alien woman rested against the pillar, her breathing slow but steady. The water Elias gave her had helped, but she was still weak. Her armor was cracked. Her skin had cuts. She looked both dangerous and fragile. Elias kept his distance, but stayed nearby. He watched her carefully just in case. Her golden eyes followed him as he set up a small camp near the wall. He placed down a heater, some lights, and a scanner to watch for danger. The chamber was large, round, and broken from past battles. Bits of old tech and fallen statues lay around them. She spoke again, her voice low and tired. The translator, on her wrist, buzzed and clicked before turning her words into something he could understand. "You are human." Elias nodded. "Commander Elias Rourke, Earth Fleet." She said nothing for a while, just stared at him with those glowing eyes. Finally, she said, "I am Arakshal, Queen of the Zinthari." Elias blinked. A queen? He looked around at the ruined palace. This place had once been full of power, maybe glory. Now it was dust and silence. "You were the enemy," he said carefully. "So were you," she replied, her voice calm. "But you gave me water. No soldier does that." "I'm not here to fight anymore," Elias said. "I crashed, just trying to survive." She gave a weak smile, barely a twitch of her mouth. "Strange human." He handed her a small packet of food. She stared at it like it was poison, then slowly opened it and took a bite. Her eyes widened. "It tastes Not terrible. Elias chuckled. It's the best compliment Army rations ever got. They sat in silence after that. Outside, wind howled through broken walls. The stars above Virex 9 were cold and bright. This moon was forgotten by both humans and Zenthari, a place of ghosts. Elias checked her wounds. You're lucky. No infection yet, but you won't last long without help. I already accepted death, she said. Well, unaccept it, Elias said. I'm not burying you out here. She looked at him again, more closely this time. Why are you like this? No human has ever shown me kindness. Not even once. I don't know, he said. Maybe because I've seen too much death. Maybe I'm tired of hating people I never met. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, You are strange, Commander Elias Rourke. He smiled. You can just call me Elias. Elias, she repeated, testing the name. The heater buzzed softly. The lights flickered. They were two survivors from different worlds, two enemies who had no reason to trust each other. And yet something had begun. Not peace, not friendship, but the first crack in a wall built by years of war. The days passed slowly on Virex 9. Elias stayed inside the ruined palace, fixing what little equipment he had. His ship was too far to reach with the Queen in her weak condition, and the toxic air outside made every trip dangerous. So he stayed, and she stayed. Queen Arakshal spent most of her time resting. Her wounds were healing slowly, but she was still too weak to move much. Elias gave her food, water, and medicine. She never asked, but she never refused again. They spoke little, but something had changed. The silence between them was no longer cold, it was calm, even peaceful. Sometimes Elias talked just to fill the air. Back on Earth, I lived near a forest, big trees, real green, he said once while adjusting the broken translator drone. Birds used to sing every morning. You'd hate the noise. Arakshal tilted her head. I have never seen a tree. He looked at her, surprised. Never? I was born on a warship, she said. Raised in a palace. Trained for battle. Trees were in stories, not in life. Elias thought about that. A queen raised without nature, without peace, only war. No wonder we fought each other, he muttered. She didn't respond, but her eyes stayed on him longer than usual. One night, a storm blew over the moon. Dust and ash filled the sky. The old palace walls groaned under the wind. Elias and Arakshal sat close to the heater. The power flickered. Then, out of the blue, she asked, Do you have family? Elias looked down. Had. My brother died in the first Zenthari attack. My parents followed a year later, bombing in Mars City. I see, she said quietly. You? My mate was a general. He fell in the second wave. My daughter died before birth, poisoned air during the siege. Their eyes met. No more words were needed. They were both victims of a war they didn't start. Both had lost everything. And yet, here they were. Two survivors who should have been enemies but had only each. Later, while Elias worked on building a stronger radio beacon, Arakshal stood on shaking legs. He turned. You should rest. I need to move, she said. My strength will not return if I stay still. He walked over to help her, but she raised a hand. Let me try alone. He nodded. Step by step, she walked across the chamber, slow, painful steps, but she didn't fall. Elias smiled. Not bad, Your Highness. She gave him a small glare. Call me that again and I will stab you. They both laughed. It was the first time either of them had laughed on this dead world. The hidden room was quiet, cold, and full of strange machines. Lights blinked on smooth black panels. A table in the center glowed with a soft green light. Marcus had never seen anything like it. Queen Syrixa stood beside him, silent. Two alien scientists entered the room. Their bodies were thin and tall. They wore long robes and strange breathing masks. Marcus sat on the glowing table. What are they going to do? They will take a small blood sample, the Queen replied. And scan your brain, it will not hurt. That's what doctors always say, Marcus muttered. One of the scientists touched a panel. A thin arm moved out from the machine and gently pressed against Marcus's neck. There was a quick sting, then a soft beep. It is done, the scientist said in a low voice. Another machine floated close to Marcus's head. A soft light passed over his skull. Marcus closed his eyes. The light felt warm. Too warm. Then he saw something. A memory, but it wasn't his. He saw a battlefield filled with smoke. Strange alien ships flew overhead. Armored soldiers shouted in a language he didn't know, but somehow understood. He was there. But not as Marcus. He was someone else. A leader. A warrior. A Zarnak. The vision ended as quickly as it came. Marcus opened his eyes, breathing hard. What was that? He asked. Queen Syrixa stepped closer. Her voice was calm but serious. A memory, one that does not belong to you. The scientists spoke quietly with each other, looking worried. Tell me what you saw, the Queen said. Marcus told her everything. She nodded slowly. That memory belongs to General Vorkon. Your ex-husband, Marcus said. Yes. But I'm human. You are, but the results say otherwise. One of the scientists handed her a glowing panel. She looked at it carefully. There are signs of Zarnak DNA inside you, small pieces, hidden deep in your cells. Marcus stood up, angry. Are you saying I'm not human? You are mostly human, she said, but someone added something else. Who? I don't know, but it was done carefully, secretly, maybe long ago. Marcus looked down at his hands. They looked the same, but now he wasn't sure who he really was. The Queen walked to the door. We need to speak to your leaders. Earth must explain. They won't like this, Marcus said. They don't have to like it, she answered, but they will talk. As they left the room, Marcus felt a strange pressure in his chest. Not fear, but something deeper. He was not just a soldier anymore. He was a mystery, and someone, somewhere, had the answers. The meeting room on the human side of the embassy was filled with serious faces. Earth's top diplomats and military leaders sat around a long table. Some wore suits, others wore uniforms with medals, but none of them looked happy. Marcus stood near the back of the room. Queen Syrixa sat across from the human officials. Her glowing eyes were calm, but sharp. On the table between them was the DNA report. This is not possible, said General Rains, a strong, gray-haired man. He's human, fully human. Queen Syrixa tapped the report. The evidence says otherwise. He carries Zarnak genetic material. That doesn't happen by accident. Another diplomat leaned forward. Are you accusing Earth of genetic experiments, Your Majesty? I'm not accusing, she said. I'm asking for answers. All eyes turned to Marcus. He stayed quiet, but inside he felt like he was on fire. A part of him wanted to scream. Another part wanted to run. General Rains stood. Corporal Hale was born on Mars Colony 3. His records are clean. His parents were both Terran. I reviewed the files myself. What if the records were fake? The Queen asked. Impossible. We keep tight control on our citizens' data. Syrixa leaned back. Then someone is lying to both of us. The room went quiet. After the meeting, Marcus was pulled into a private room. General Rains followed him in. Listen carefully, Rains said. You are still a soldier and you follow Earth's command. Do not forget that. Marcus crossed his arms. I didn't ask for any of this. I know. But now the aliens see you as important. Maybe too important. That makes you dangerous. To them and to us. You think I'm a weapon? I think you're a question. And some people don't like questions. Suddenly the door opened. A woman in a black suit stepped in. Her eyes were cold, her voice smooth. "Corporal Hale," she said. "I'm Agent Mira from Terran Intelligence." Marcus nodded. "More questions?" She smiled faintly. "Just one. Have you ever heard of something called Operation Mirror Flame?" Marcus shook his head. Agent Mira looked at Rains. "He doesn't know." "What is it?" Marcus asked. "An old black project," she said. "Rumors say it was about creating hybrid soldiers using alien DNA." Marcus stared at her. "You think I'm one of them?" "I don't think. I know." The room spun in Marcus's mind. Was that really possible? Had he been created in a lab, built like a weapon? Mira stepped closer. "You were never meant to know. But now the Queen does. And that changes everything." Rains nodded slowly. "We have to protect you. And control the story." "What if I don't want to be controlled?" Marcus asked. The general's voice turned cold. "Then you become a threat." Marcus looked out the window at the alien towers glowing in the distance. His life was no longer his own, and he was starting to remember things that didn't belong to him. Marcus couldn't sleep that night. He sat alone on a small balcony inside the embassy. The stars above were sharp and cold, shining through the energy shield that covered the building. Below, Earth's capital, city glowed like a sea of light. His mind was full of questions. Who was he really? Was he just a soldier? Or something made in a lab like Agent Mira said? He touched his arm where the needle had drawn blood earlier. The Queen's scientists had found alien DNA, Zarnak DNA, deep inside him, but how and why? Suddenly a flash of light filled his eyes. Another memory. It came without warning, like a dream breaking into the real world. He was standing in a desert, burnt red skies, black sand. Zarnak banners flew in the wind. Soldiers marched behind him. He turned and looked in a mirror-like panel, but it wasn't Marcus's face. It was another man, silver skin, 4 glowing eyes, a powerful figure in battle armor, General Vorkan, the Queen's ex-husband. And in the memory, he was smiling. The vision ended, and Marcus gasped for air. Sweat rolled down his face. He grabbed the railing to steady himself. It didn't feel like a dream. It felt real. Too real. Then came a soft voice behind him. "You saw something, didn't you?" Marcus turned. Queen Syrixa stood in the shadows watching him. Her long robe flowed around her like mist. "You're inside my head now?" he asked, half joking. "No," she said. "But I can feel your energy. It changes when your old self comes forward." "My old self?" "Yes," she said, stepping closer. "You're not just carrying his DNA. You are carrying his memories, his soul, pieces of him inside you." Marcus laughed bitterly. "So now I'm his ghost?" "You're more than that," she said softly. "You are a bridge between your kind and mine. I didn't ask to be that." "No one asked to be chosen," she replied. "But they are still chosen." They stood in silence for a moment. Then the Queen looked at the sky. "Vorkan was not just my mate," she said. "He was a warrior who betrayed his people. He started a war. He destroyed peace. But I once loved him." Marcus stayed quiet. "I don't know why part of him lives in you," she continued, "but I feel it. His strength, his rage, his pain, and something else." "What?" "Regret." Marcus looked at her. "You think he put himself inside me?" "Maybe not him, but someone did. Someone powerful. Someone with a plan." Suddenly, alarms blared through the embassy. Red lights flashed across the walls. A voice shouted from the hallway, "Security breach! Intruders on the lower level!" Marcus and the Queen locked eyes. "Stay close to me," she said. "Trust me," Marcus replied, reaching for his weapon. "Whoever's coming, they picked the wrong night." And together they ran toward the danger, toward the answers waiting in the dark. Red lights flashed all over the embassy as Marcus and Queen Syrixa moved quickly through the long silver hallway. The floor shook under their feet. The alarms kept screaming, warning of intruders. Soldiers ran past them in full gear. "What's happening?" Marcus asked a passing guard. "Unknown enemies broke through the outer gates," the soldier said. "We think they're looking for the Queen, or you." Marcus felt his chest tighten. They reached the lower level, where the walls were thicker and the lights darker. Smoke filled the air and the smell of burning metal was strong. A door had been blasted open. Wires sparked from the ceiling. Syrixa raised her hand, and a small blue shield formed in front of them. "Stay behind me." But Marcus stepped in front of her instead. "No. I fight." Suddenly, shadowy figures came out of the smoke. They wore dark suits with no markings. Their faces were covered by masks. They didn't look like Earth soldiers or Zarnak warriors. They looked like ghosts. One of them raised a weapon and pointed it straight at the Queen. Marcus moved fast. He tackled the enemy, knocking the gun away. The two rolled across the floor, punching and kicking. The enemy was strong, but Marcus was faster. Something deep inside him came alive, a skill he never learned, a movement that wasn't human. He spun around, disarmed the attacker, and slammed him to the ground in seconds. Queen Syrixa used her power, sending a wave of blue energy that threw the other intruders against the walls. They screamed as their weapons shorted out. More guards arrived and secured the hallway. Syrixa walked over to Marcus, who was still breathing hard. "You fought like him," she said. "Like who?" Marcus asked. "Like Vorkon," she whispered. "You moved just like he did in battle." Marcus looked at his hands, surprised by his own strength and speed. "I didn't think, I just reacted." The enemy bodies were scanned. No ID, no names, nothing. "They're not from Earth," one of the guards said. "No records, no signals. They came in silent." Agent Mira entered the room, looking angry. "I warned you this would happen." "You knew they were coming?" Marcus asked. "I knew someone was watching you," Mira replied. "You're not just a mystery, Marcus. You're a threat to someone's plan." Queen Syrixa stepped forward. "And that plan almost killed us." Marcus looked at the broken wall, the burned hallway, the dead soldiers. "Someone's afraid of me, of what I might become." "They should be," the Queen said, "because you're only starting to remember." Marcus nodded slowly. "Then it's time I find out everything. No more secrets." "Agreed," she said. "But we'll need to go deep into Zarnak territory. Into forbidden space." "That's where the truth is?" he asked. "Yes," she replied. "And where the past is waiting." Marcus looked at the stars beyond the broken window. He was ready. 3 days later, Marcus stood inside a Zarnak warship, staring out the wide viewing window. Stars passed like silver sparks as the ship moved faster than light. It was his first time leaving the solar system. Beside him stood Queen Syrixa, silent as always. "We are now entering the outer zone," the ship's pilot announced. "Zarnak forbidden space in 5 minutes." The ship was different from anything Marcus had seen before. It didn't hum like Earth ships. It felt alive, walls pulsing softly like a heartbeat. He wasn't sure if that made him feel safe or nervous. "You've done this trip before?" he asked. "Once," the Queen replied. "Long ago, with him." "You mean Vorkon?" She nodded. "He brought me here to meet someone, a secret keeper, a being older than both our empires." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "What kind of secret?" "One that was never supposed to be repeated. But I believe you are the key to unlocking it." The ship slowed and came out of faster-than-light travel. In front of them was a giant black planet, covered in storms and strange lightning. No lights, no cities, just darkness. The pilot turned. "We have arrived." They landed near a cliff of black rock. No one spoke. Even the air seemed afraid. As they stepped out of the ship, Marcus felt something strange, like pressure in his chest, a whisper in his ear. Words he couldn't understand but somehow knew. Syrixa noticed. "You feel it too?" "Yeah," he said quietly. "It's like something calling me." They walked through a stone passage under the cliff. Glowing crystals lit the path. The air was cold and heavy. After a long walk, they reached a large chamber with walls covered in strange symbols. In the center stood a tall, thin being with 4 arms and no face, just a smooth silver mask. Marcus froze. He had seen this figure in one of his visions. The being spoke, its voice deep and echoing. "Welcome, General Vorkon." "I'm not him," Marcus replied. The being turned to Syrixa. "He does not know. He is only beginning to remember," she said. The being stepped closer. "Then let me help him." Without warning, it touched Marcus's forehead with one long, cold finger. A blast of memories rushed into Marcus's mind. Explosions, stars burning, armies marching, a child crying, a promise made in blood, and a voice, his voice but not his body. "I will return in another form to fix what I destroyed." Marcus gasped and fell to his knees. Syrixa caught him. "Marcus." He looked up slowly, his eyes full of shock. I made this happen," he said. "All of it. The war. The deaths. I chose to come back. As a human." The being nodded. "Now you must finish what you began, or the galaxy will burn again." Marcus stood, shaking. "I don't want to be him," he whispered. "You already are," the Queen said. "But now, you can choose a different path." Marcus sat alone on the black stone floor of the ancient chamber. His hands were shaking. His mind was full of voices, his own and another that sounded like him, but colder, older, heavier with guilt. Queen Syrixa watched him from a distance. She had seen this before, soldiers broken by truth. But Marcus was not just any soldier. He was a man who carried 2 souls. The ancient being, the guardian of memories, stood still like a statue. It had shown Marcus the truth, memories from a past life, choices made, and a plan that was never completed. Marcus had once been General Vorkon, a powerful Zarnak leader who started a war, then changed his mind too late. Before dying, Vorkon had used forbidden science to preserve his thoughts, his soul, and send them into a human body, into Marcus. Syrixa stepped forward. "Do you remember everything now?" "Not everything," Marcus said, standing slowly. "But enough. Then you understand what you must do." He looked at her, his face tired. "You mean stop the war I helped start? Bring peace to 2 sides that still hate each other?" She nodded. "Only you can do that. They will listen to you, because they fear you, or because they still believe in you." Marcus turned toward the ancient being. "Why me? Why bring me back like this?" The being spoke in its deep voice, "Because only a man who once caused great harm can truly understand the price of peace." Marcus laughed bitterly. "I'm not a hero. I'm not even sure I'm human anymore." "You are both," the Queen said. "Human and Zarnak, soldier and leader, past and present." Outside, the sky above the black planet darkened. Strange ships appeared in orbit, Earth's warships and Zarnak cruisers. Both had tracked Marcus's journey. Now they faced each other, ready to fight. "They're here," Syrixa said. "We don't have much time." Marcus turned to her. "If I go out there, they'll try to use me or kill me." "Yes," she said. "But if you don't go, this galaxy burns." Marcus looked at his reflection in the smooth crystal wall. His face was human, but behind his eyes was something ancient, something powerful. He touched his chest. His heart still beat like a man's, not a machine, not a god, just a man who had made mistakes and had one last chance to make them right. He took a deep breath. Call both fleets, he said. Tell them I'm coming up. To speak? The Queen asked. To decide, Marcus replied. Syrixa placed her hand on his shoulder. You don't have to do this alone. I never did, Marcus said quietly. I just didn't know it before. And as the alarms rang and two mighty forces prepared for war above the planet, Marcus Hale, human soldier, forgotten general, and reluctant savior, walked toward his final test. The command deck of the Zarnak warship was filled with tension. On the giant viewing screen, two massive fleets floated in space, Earth's finest ships on one side, Zarnak cruisers on the other. Weapons were ready. Shields were up. One mistake, and the stars would burn. Marcus stood between both commanders, General Rains of Earth and High Commander Zorak of the Zarnak Empire. They were speaking through holograms, each surrounded by their own guards, their own fear. We will not stand down, Rains barked. That thing you call a general is one of us. You try to take him, we open fire. He is not yours, Zorak growled. He is a criminal of our past, a ghost that must be judged. Marcus stepped forward. His voice was calm but strong. Stop, both of you. Everyone went silent. I am Marcus Hale, he said, a human, a soldier. But I also carry the memories of General Vorkan, the man who caused this war. I didn't ask for it, but now I have to fix it. Zorak sneered. You expect us to trust a hybrid? No, Marcus said. I expect you to listen, just for once. We are standing on the edge of another war. If we fight now, billions will die. Again. Rains crossed his arms. What's your plan, Corporal? Not Corporal, Marcus said. Not General either. Just a man trying to stop history from repeating. He looked around the room. I will surrender myself. Not to Earth, not to Zarnak, but to both. I will let both sides question me, test me, study me, together. Both commanders frowned. That's impossible, Zorak said. No, it's not, Queen Syrixa.